Welcome everybody back to the J.M.O. with yours truly, Mike Knoxxx, formerly known as the Round the Blocks with Mike Knoxxx. And indeed, I spell my name with 3 X's because like the world of professional wrestling, I am hardcore. However, I am not WWE bound, people. Listen, a lot to talk about this morning. I had to marinate it. I wanted to sleep on it. I wanted to hear what people had to say about it, but I'm here now to discuss WWE's Survivor Series, people. A lot of things took place, a lot of mixed reactions about this pay-per-view. So listen, guys, things you need to know before we get any further here. WWE Survivor Series results are right now. I'm going to recap it. I'm going to give you my grade for the pay-per-view per the matches. You know, we do belt ratings around here, 1 through 5 and belt ratings. How you feel about Raw dominating SmackDown the way they did? I mean, I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be when it comes to the voice of the voiceless, which is who you guys are. So I speak my voice for you, but also Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey completely stands out in this pay-per-view for me. Matches I didn't think would be good until I sat down in my chair. Yes, my beautiful chair. And I watched these matches. I was highly impressed with this pay-per-view. But you know what? That's a lie. That would be a lie. What's going on? That's a complete. If I said I was completely happy with this pay-per-view, then you can call me a mark and a kiss ass, whatever you want to call me. But I'm going to be real here about this. Okay, Raw dominated. But question, guys, is it fair that the WWE has a pre-show? They have a pre-show where it's Raw versus SmackDown, but SmackDown wins and doesn't get put into the counter? Come on, man. They deserve. The Uso Penitentiary did their job. The Uso Penitentiary came through. What's going on, my man, Vic? Yo, Raw had the better roster and showed it for the first time. I'm not sure I would agree with that necessarily. We will talk about that. The better roster between the men roster, absolutely. The women, not so sure. But on the men's side, I give you that. And the tag team side, no. I just think in the one-on-ones, yeah, you got AJ Styles. I mean, you got your feud. We talk about it. Don't rush me. Do not push me there. Every time I try to go in, you keep pulling me back. Not this morning, people. Listen, make sure you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, wherever social media is sold, which is at Mike Knoxxx. That is spelled with 3 X's because like Bret Hart, I am hardcore. Also, make sure you go listen to the podcast, guys. Listen, I'm not just here on Facebook Live. I'm just not on YouTube Live. I am everywhere podcasts are sold, which is absolutely free. Now, people, your mother, your aunt, your grandmother, your deaconess, and the deacon have radio shows, have podcasts. But hey, take it from somebody who's going to 2,000 episodes relatively soon on this network. We've been in, we've been out, like you in church, but we're here now, and that's all that matters. So make sure you go download the podcast and search BDSIR, which stands for the best damn show in radio. And if that's too long for you, just search Mike Knoxxx with 3 X's. You don't believe me? Ask that whore that you dated. But let's get into wrestling right now, guys, and let's talk about what happened last night. Okay, so like I said, we started with the kickoff show. They had the Usos, the New Day, Sanity, the Good Brothers, and the Cologne Brothers taking on the Revival, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, Lucha House Party, the Ascension, and the B Team. Of course, the Survivor Series team was won by the Usos, and you were in that penitentiary. Okay, match. Then we had the Women Elimination Tag match with Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James taking on and Tamina, going against Asuka, Carmella, Naomi, Sonya Deville, and Mandy, the Goddess Moore. Rose, Moore. Mandy Moore. Mandy Rose. But this is what came great out of this match. The heat that Becky Lynch's face breaker has put upon herself. The heat that the WWE has allowed her to do. Listen, if not for anything more than what I said on Saturday's show, it proved to me that the WWE pulled Becky Lynch from that match on purpose. It showed more with that heat given to Nia Jax, them allowing her to play this role of hashtag the face breaker. Everything points to everything points to they pulled her from this match on purpose versus Ronda Rousey. And again, I have no problem with that because some would say, many will say, the night of the match was between Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. And I will say this much for those who have watched the match. If you haven't watched the match, why are you listening to me? Because I'm going to spoil it for you because it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in the United States of America. So all my fans in the UK, sorry for your damn luck. But that was what I call an initiation, so to speak. This has happened in males wrestling for years. When a guy gets busted and beat up like that, that's what happened with Ronda Rousey. But we'll get to that because first in the main event or the women's elimination match on Raw, of course, Nia Jax being the lone survivor there as she pushes one Sasha Banks off the top rope, has her get tapped out to one Asuka, and Nia Jax picks up the pinfall. And I wish, and I'm going to say this, I said to my man Dice yesterday as we watched pay-per-views together via the Xbox, and with my children there, of course, making wrestling a different breed for me to enjoy it more than most of you guys. We got kids that are into wrestling. Watch it with them. You'll see it from their perspective and view it how I view wrestling as it's just a show. But like the Big Show's World's Strongest Punch, they should use Nia Jax as the world's strongest female punch. I would love to see that from her. Hashtag facebreaker. Yes, I want to see her break more faces. Then we had Seth Rollins taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, which I've been very critical of Shinsuke. I said to fans on Saturday's show, and those who are new to this program, new to the podcast, just go ahead and follow, subscribe, do some research. Do your research on who we've had on this program, who we've interviewed in this program, the people that were nothing that we made famous on this program. Forget Jesse James. No, I'll make you famous. That's for damn sure. But this match between, before talking about the match, I spoke on Saturday's show as, let's not always blame booking. Let's not always blame the machine for guys not getting over on the main roster. Shinsuke Nakamura is the same Shinsuke Nakamura that he was in NXT. Now, people got to also understand when you go to the main roster and there's more eyes on the main roster and there's more investors looking at the main roster, then, of course, your wrestling style won't change. I mean, funny, I'll make you laugh this morning. I'm going to make you laugh right now. My son says, hey, Dad, did you know that DDT used to be a finishing move? Because so many people DDT people today, it's like, forget a super kick party. Let's have a DDT party because the DDT is not what it was when the one great Jake the Snake Roberts used to use it and smack your back. Remember when you was a kid and you saw the DDT, you had a science for that shit, right? Like you get them, you gotta smack the back. When you smack the back, it makes their face go into the mat heavier because you push them down by smacking them in the back. That's what a DDT was. But in this match with Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura, not getting into the matches more or less than what I thought about them. Very good match. That's the match that Nakamura needs to have. And again, that's probably the first and only match outside of AJ Styles that Nakamura had that was halfway decent. Didn't do good against Randy Orton. Didn't do good against Baron Corbin. Didn't do good against the man Dolph Ziggler. And the list goes on and on. Robert Roode. But fans want to blame booking for his shortcomings. I mean, don't blame us for your shortcomings. Blame your mama and your daddy. Now, moving on. Before I get to your comments, and I appreciate your comments, I will get to all your comments momentarily. Also, then we had the stuff backstage also all night with R-Truth was just hilarious. Okay, then we had AOP take on the Bar, and of course, AOP had to defeat the Bar, as I said on Saturday's show as well on my pre-show, that they needed that victory, and I like how they got the victory. Now, this is what I don't get. For all the times that people make fun of the WWE, right? And rightfully so. I'll be real with you. Rightfully so, you should make fun of the dumb decisions that they do. That boy, yeah, I said it, because only boys pee themselves. How was that hilarious? How was that funny? But that's okay because some of you guys are fans of Joey Ryan and all the stuff that the dicks that follow him around. So I guess that was for you, all you dickheads out there. So then we got the Cruiserweight title, which, listen, people are not putting this as match of the night possibilities, but it maybe should have been match of the night nomination was Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali. Now, this is what's now called the new bathroom break match, like the ladies used to be back in the day. This was not, and I got up my damn self, but I came back, and this was an incredible match between Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali. It really might be the best match of the night. I give it 4.5 belts cruiserweight titles out of 5. That match was incredible. Why I can't give it a 5 is that I don't know the story because I don't watch 205. And I love the fact that the pseudo-fake crowd in LA was screaming 205, 205. Hey, if that's your show, then chant it. Then we had the Miz elimination match between Braun, Dolph, Drew, Finn, Bobby, taking on Miz, Shane, Ray, Jeff, and Samoa Joe, who had the night off. Don't know why he showed up. And of course, we know what happened there. Team Raw wins the match. But a lot of stories came out of this match. Let's show you the orders of elimination. You had Samoa Joe. Then you had Balor was eliminated. Then you had Ziggler, which was eliminated, which pissed me off, by the way. Then Hardy, then Mysterio, then Miz, and then McMahon. I just don't get why he is always the lone survivor for a team. I just do not understand that at all. What's going on with the whole thing with Shane McMahon? Just tell me. I'm not a Shane hater, and I think most wrestling fans admire and respect Shane, but it gets to a point where it becomes too much. We don't need to see Shane going against top quote-unquote superstars in the business just because he can. I mean, I understand it. And I'm more sensible than most wrestling fans. That's why this is the show for the intelligent wrestling fan. So I don't take things to heart. I don't get mad about things to heart. Hey, what's up, Brett? Like most wrestling fans do. But enough's enough with Shane McMahon. Like there's a thing where the storyline of the commissioner, the owners of the McMahon saga that was very successful in the late 90s and early 2000s, it's run its course. I mean, every company does it now. Impact Wrestling does it. Ring of, every company now plays that role. And we just don't need to see it anymore, at least not from the WWE for a while, in my opinion. Then we had, listen, Ronda Rousey got her upcomings. She got her ass kicked by Charlotte Flair, people, in a match. Listen, I will continue to applaud this lady. I will continue to give this lady all the accolades she deserves because Ronda Rousey out in that squared circle. That's where I'm leaving it at right there. That's the caveat there, people. Not overall character development, but in that squared circle, Ronda Rousey is developing faster than any female we've ever seen wrestle. I don't see her count her steps. She is a natural in the squared circle. And as my kids would say, Kendo! Kendo party! Kendo went to work. She broke that damn kendo stick over her. She broke 2 kendo sticks over her. She beat Ronda Rousey's ass. Did y'all see the marks on that woman's body afterwards? And while we're there, I gotta say this because we're men, and most importantly, we're men. Secondarily, we're pervs. Charlotte Flair must be getting butt injections, y'all. She went from having an extended long back with long legs to have a little bubble in the cushion there. Just want to say that there. It was not the shorts. I think she's getting butt injections as I look at this picture that I'm looking at right now. Then we had the match that most of you didn't want to see. They called a fantasy dream match, not me, and I'm a Daniel Bryan mark, but a match that I was intrigued by that listen, you want to see AJ get killed before about 15 minutes in this match, even Michael Cole. You're just watching this match like, damn, is he going to die? I felt like Dolph Ziggler. Not Dolph, I'm sorry, Dolph Lundgren as I was Drago. If he dies, he dies. I don't have a Russian accent, but if he dies, he died. I mean, I was sitting there like Rocky Four, throw in the damn towel! Throw in the damn towel! The same way that my Eagles should have did against the Saints, and we're not talking football. But that's what happened. But Daniel Bryan makes a match out of this. He laughs. I love Daniel Bryan, and those who don't like Daniel Bryan, you need to explain to me why you don't like Daniel Bryan. But overall, the pay-per-view wasn't bad when I'm reading it to you. The pay-per-view isn't bad when I'm telling you about the matches and how I'm expressing to you my side of how I took the matches. What's going on, Thomas? But here's my problem with the pay-per-view. I had several problems, and for once, I'm not going to rip the fans. And I rip the fans all the time. Like I saw a meme this morning on Twitter that got, I think I had like 400 retweets, right? Of yet again, look, like first of all, the internet is not undefeated. So I want to tell you that because you can unplug the internet, so it's not undefeated. Second, TakeOver is not undefeated against the main roster pay-per-view. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, takeovers are built for the guys like you. Okay, and probably mainly me, also about, wrestling show. They know how to build a show. It's built for wrestling. WWE main roster is not built for wrestling. It's built for story. And NXT story is there, but it's more wrestling story driven as opposed to story wrestling driven. Like I put together, I'll back it up, slow it down so you can hear it again. No, I'm not. You heard it, rewind the tape. So you have one show that's built with wrestling being the story. You have one story with story, and then wrestling is just the background, like watching The Walking Dead. The story's not about the zombies. They're just there. The story's about human people, emotion, and how humans will deal with a world that's gone mad. That's what wrestling is. Okay? Listen, this pay-per-view, by any chance, was not great. Was it trash? No. Was it the worst pay-per-view of the year? No. Did you not see Crown Jewel? And another thing, wrestling fans, talking to you. Stop saying worst pay-per-view ever when you know damn well that Greedy and any other WCW pay-per-view in its late years was way worse than anything you've ever seen in WWE in the last 4 years. Do not tell me that Impact Wrestling, TNA, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, have always had better pay-per-views. No, it may be the worst pay-per-view you've seen or you thought you've seen in WWE this year or in a few years, but worst pay-per-view ever? Not at all. Did you not see what I just said to you about the stories that went forth with Nia Jax? Did you not hear me say how Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair got it on? Did you not hear me talk about how Brock Lesnar looked like he was completely dominating Daniel Bryan, but then Daniel Bryan's made a match out of it and made it into a great match? Not a good match, but a great match because Daniel Bryan did that? Oh, I'm sorry. You guys only thought AJ Styles was the only person who could do that. Oh, no, the phenomenal one. Oh, they took him out the match. Y'all want to see AJ Styles get dropped on his neck? Because I didn't. I didn't want to see Daniel Bryan either. But that was going to happen to him too. Okay? It was a great match. Not good. So because, thank you, Aaron, because those matches and those things that I named, Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins, because of Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali, that right there makes it not a horrible pay-per-view. So stop. Stop. I would rather, see, I said, I can't do it. It's impossible for me not to comment to wrestling fans because I wake up in the morning. I said, no, I'm not going to do a post-show. Went to bed. My wife said, hey, what you doing? Because we're doing the show. I said, no. I want to sit. I want to marinate. I want to talk to some people. I want to read some comments. I want to get into some groups. You know, some that I'm admins of, some that I'm not admins of, or some I've been there for such a long time. And I like hearing what wrestling fans actually have to say. I really do respect what you guys say, despite how stupid the shit you say be. But when I'm watching these things and I'm viewing, and I'm like, how is this the worst pay-per-view of the year? It's not. But here's where it feels like it was. See, here you go. See, I get off you. I'm very hard with myself because for those who've been waiting for Mike Knoxxx to say something negative about the WWE, here's where I will. You cannot fit in a big four in between sandwich between Crown Jewel and Evolution. And I'm one for thinking, because wrestling fans try to change the narrative of wrestling. You try to say that things, the storylines are not long enough or there's too short of a time. No matter what the WWE does, you guys will make an excuse to complain and about it not being what it should be. But the problem that, in my opinion, that's why this is called the J.M.O., just my opinion, with this is that they took the pageantry out of it. You know, so I'm watching the previews like all of you did when you're watching the review and you see that next is TLC, then the Royal Rumble. I'm like, damn, it's already WrestleMania time. Not just the fact that picks went on sale, but it's half the year's gone already. Like we're there. We're on our road to the WrestleMania. And very soon anyway. But you have Survivor Series, you have WrestleMania, you have Royal Rumble, and you have SummerSlam. These are your big four. This is what we've grown to love and to respect about professional wrestling. And when this is your big four, your last big four of the year, it didn't give me the pageantry that I wanted. Now, I've always said that Crown Jewel, the Beast in the East, whatever network pay-per-view, the Showdown Down Under, all that stuff, whatever you want to call it, right? Those are glorified house shows that they bring to the network because fans were complaining that they were advertising this big thing for other countries and other people and didn't want to watch them. So when those matches aren't good or those stories aren't good, I don't care because it's not built for them. That's built for that audience. That's a house show that's being televised. If anybody that calls himself a wrestling fan has never been to a house show, I will tell you right now, the house shows are better than television shows. They are. They wrestle, they interact better. They're better shows than what you see on Raw, SmackDown, or pay-per-view 9 times out of 10. Okay, so when you have that in mind, I watch this pay-per-view and I go, oh, this felt like one of those shows. It didn't feel like a Survivor Series. And one of my reasons why I didn't think it felt like a Survivor Series was, I thought it should have been called, and they used the color scheme for it very well, it should have been called Survivor Series Bragging Rights, okay? Because it was bragging rights. It was SmackDown versus Raw. I mean, just call the video game that again, why don't you? That's where it took the hit. That's where the hit was taken. When I'm watching a program, and when I'm watching Survivor Series, I want to see Raw have a, like, Ziggler, Dolph, and McIntyre and Braun have a team taking on Finn and those guys. That's supposed to be what it is, right? So then that way you can have McIntyre and them turn on Braun, right? Where was Elias in this pay-per-view, right? Well, there's things like that. Bobby, you're supposed to have your heels versus your faces in your traditional Survivor Series matches, and you've given us 2 lazy bookings back-to-back years with Survivor Series. I've seen people like, well, just bury the pay-per-view right now. Just don't even call it that anymore. It's no longer part of your big four. We consider Money in the Bank more of a big four, excuse me, than we do Survivor Series. And for that, I just don't get. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, God. That's what I don't understand. Because it's Survivor Series. I get hype, right? I get hype because it's Survivor Series. Every year, I tell you guys, when it comes to like WrestleMania, I'm like, relax, it's wrestling. Enjoy this moment. This is the moment you're supposed to enjoy. I missed that game as well, Aaron. But I like the new WWE 2K19. I think one of the best wrestling games they made in quite a long time, since 2K has had it, definitely. But I watched this pay-per-view and I'm like, damn, I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. And I'm just watching it. Up until the last 3 matches, which was the male elimination match, I will eliminate that, to be honest. The last 2 matches for me saved this pay-per-view because that felt pageantry. Brock, whether you like it or not, what Vince said to me is true. That seems to be the big deal. He is a big deal to me, is Brock Lesnar. He is big fight Phil. When Brock Lesnar steps on the scene, he's big time. He's big time. What he does, it's big time. And I like that he's big time like that. So that felt big time. So then when I look at, other matches, I look at Ronda and Charlotte. I didn't want Ronda and Charlotte. I felt you should have picked maybe Asuka or somebody else to, in that moment, be there. I didn't want to see her, I thought there was other things you could do at that time to build that. I didn't want to see that. So as I had in my prediction show, I thought Becky would show up. I don't think she has a severe concussion, like I said before. I think that's a storyline. I don't think there's nothing severely broke about her. I don't think she has a severe concussion. She has a broken nose, but I think that's it. I think they saw the heat. They saw what was happening with the fans, and they're not ready for Ronda Rousey to not be the girl or not be booed. They're not ready for that. Ronda can't handle that. Like Michael Cole making that dumb statement that she's never been brutalized like this before. I'm sorry, did you not remember Holly Holmes? She got her ass whooped. Okay, but that still felt big. Ronda versus Charlotte. They gave it to me. They gave me where it really was. Yeah, Ronda won the match, but did she really win? She probably got her tooth broke. It was blood. They didn't screen it out. She took a beating. Ronda, if Ronda Rousey did not earn her stripes from you, the wrestling fans, for her, then there's nothing they can do to have you like her. And that's where I be coming from when I come with fans. Like, let's not watch something. Let's not invest time. Let's not spend money. If you got the network more than 10 years spending money on everything, it's only $10 a week or $10 a month, right? Let's not invest your time. You're watching, you're in groups, you're texting things back and forth, you're having comments, you're being as a fan, you're being fanatic about it. That's what fan stands for, fanatic, right? There's reality and there's perception. The reality is you still love professional wrestling. The perception is you can't stand the WWE. But the reality is you still love them because you still watch it. That's what I hear all the time. Well, give it up, stop watching. You guys tell me, don't tell me what the F to do. I can watch what I want to watch. I've been watching this long. I'm immune to it. I just ask you to watch it from a different set of lenses. Watch it to understand what it is you're watching. And when you understand what you're watching, you get it. And I get you guys last night. It was not a great pay-per-view. because it just didn't feel like it. Miz was a little bit over the top, and Miz is funny with in the back. No, that was just too much. And I know they tried, and this is what you want me to say it. I say it. This is what you call bad booking, and not the pay-per-view. It was the timing around the pay-per-view. If you want to have Crown Jewel and Evolution, that's perfectly effing fine. But during those times, I believe friend of the program, we don't necessarily agree on a lot of things, but I think we respect the shit out of each other's opinions. And that friend of the program, Epps, he put a while ago, and he mentioned that what's bad booking? And bad booking is exactly what you saw last night. That he said they didn't fix this together well. When Epps brought up, he said, "Hey, you have all this time to put this pay-per-view together, and you squeeze in again." I take Crown Jewel out the equation. Okay, that's to get more subscribers for the network. That wasn't for us, so I don't even count that. But when you put Evolution that close to the Survivor Series, you take away from Survivor Series, because some of those matches in Evolution could have been on Survivor Series. You didn't have to have Raw versus SmackDown. There's enough females on both rosters to have traditional, even if it's not traditional 5-on-5, 4-on-4 matches. They were years they did that. Oh, I forgot. Fans. See, it's all gonna come back to you, right? You complain, where's my traditional match? Why is it 4-on-4? I want my matches back. So the only way they think they can give you those matches is by going Raw versus SmackDown. And again, this isn't the video game. So overall, I gave the pay-per-view probably, and I'm being honest here, probably a 3 out of 5 Ultimate Warrior Intercontinental titles. And here's why, Ultimate Warrior, because it was impactful. It came in hot at the end, meaning at the end, I thought Ronda and Charlotte stole the show. I like the middle matches between Shinsuke and Seth. I love Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali, probably match of the night. As far as a in-ring ability match is concerned, definitely match of the night from a wrestling perspective. I don't think another beat that match, including Shinsuke and Seth. Only thing I will say about the video game is I wish that those 3D eliminations they bring and put that in the video game. Why can't they be in the game? Like, that should be in the game. Give me an update that gives me when Roman Reigns comes out, I get that's the Roman sign above the ring, especially at least at WrestleMania. But it just wasn't. It didn't live up to the hype of Survivor Series. It just didn't. And on a day where my Eagles got their asses kicked, I needed something to pick me up. And there were times where I felt maybe I was dozing off during this match. But 3 out of 5 Ultimate Warrior Intercontinental titles is what I give it. Let me read some of your comments before I get out of here. Your Raw had the better roster and showed up for the first time. I already announced that I don't think that they did. I need you to inbox podcast info. It's very simple, Unc. Just like whatever, if it's Stitcher, wherever podcast, I don't care if it's tuning at. If you listen to podcasts, you can hear this show or any other show that I do or I've done in the past, former interviews with, we've done some interviews. I don't want to name it. I don't want people to be like, oh, who's this guy? We don't know him, and new people to react that way. Just look up. Just like I hate to say this, and I'm not being smart or cocky, like David Otunga would say if I'm a wrestling fan, so let's do the show. Google me. Just Google Mike Knoxxx, 3 X's. I guarantee you, it's not, you're gonna find me. There's the wrestler, and then there's the rapper, then there's me. And I got more not Twitter, but I got more Google pages than both of them combined, to be honest. So we've been here for a while. We're going to continue to be for a while. Like Goonies, we're Goonies, rather. We don't die. So we're going to keep moving on. What's going on, DJ? My man Sandman tuned in. It was the best match because it seemed real. We're talking about Rozzy and Flair, that is. Okay, thank you for that. I agree with that as well. What's going on, Thomas? What we got on here? I agree. Survivor Series was not the worst pay-per-view ever. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I give it, but I give it 3 out of 5 because it wasn't good. It definitely wasn't Team Hell No as far as being, shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a shitty pay-per-view. It just it didn't give me no oomph. And yeah, I say this, TakeOver was the shit. TakeOver was damn good. And I don't even watch NXT every week like I used to watch NXT. I used to watch NXT faithfully, okay? Faithfully used to watch NXT. And I loved every bit of NXT last on Saturday night. I even thought for a moment that Velveteen Dream was going to win. And I said, wow, we're going to have our first black champion in NXT. We haven't had that yet. Why not be Velveteen Dream? The Cruiserweight match was pretty good. Last show was a good show 4 times. I don't know what that, explain to me what that one meant. It was not that bad, Charlotte. It was not bad. Charlotte Flair got me more interested in SmackDown. SmackDown is my favorite show. I think I read this somewhere, and I had to agree. So when I see things, and I see they're niches, you know, for friends of mine of coming to America. So it's not mine, but I heard it, but I agree in its totality of what it said. SmackDown has the better storyline roster, however it goes to Raw, and I agree with that. I think I still like Raw better. I just wish Raw would develop or adopt, rather, some of the storylines that SmackDown has. Please bring back SmackDown versus Raw. There is going to be a lot of stories coming out of this pay-per-view. I agree with that as well, Unc. Yep, all the good ones are going to be on SmackDown. Okay, you guys are talking to each other in there. You're right. I would still like the WWE, but I do not watch Raw. But WWE still has a lot of things I do like, but overall, I like the independent wrestling more. See, and I respect that, Thomas, because you know what? I'm not an indie guy. I'm not going to fake like I was. I tried it. I got friends of the program, the Wrestling Marks of Excellence, Daryl Johnson, Dr. D. That is a indie. He is the indie emperor, in my opinion. He loves wrestling so freaking much. He is a indie darling, and he still loves main roster stuff. I personally, and I get what he taught me, and not that he taught me, but I learned from watching him and the videos and stuff that he puts out, that I learned that everything you're ever going to see in the future on any main roster comes from the indies. I respect the hell out of the indies. I personally, I'm just not, I can't get into them, and I don't know why. It's because to me, indie storylines are really bad. Not the wrestling necessarily, but the storylines of indie wrestling to me are very bad. Hence why I'm not going to sit here and act like ECW to me was the greatest, because to me, I thought it did have extremely crappy wrestling at times. But they had a lot of guys that stood out over in ECW. But that's how I felt about ECW. Like, oh, I liked it, but I just can't really get behind some of these storylines. To me, were a little grungy and not for me. What else we got going on here? What's that? 5 X's? Is that 5 stars? I understand. Okay. But overall, I thought this pay-per-view was not horrible, but not great. 3 out of 5 Ultimate Warrior Intercontinental title matches. A great pay-per-view that could have been, but was not, was Survivor Series. Comment below. Let me know what you thought about it, what grade you gave it. I'm going to get up out of here. Listen, guys, I am back. Like I said, go check out the podcast, wherever podcasts are sold, on iTunes, Stitcher, Audible, Google Play, BDSIR, Best Damn Show in Radio Networks. Also, just Google Mike Knoxxx with 3 X's. You'll see shows from not just myself, but from the Soul of Sports, from Smack Talk Center, for all my hip-hop fans. I just have a Grand Body P, Mike Grant, who does his thing all the way from the UK. I appreciate you guys more than you give me, that I probably not give you publicly credit for. The BDSR network cannot be coming close to 2,000 episodes if it's not just for me. It's the people that have supported me. I've been here from the beginning. Some have left. Some are just become fans of it and not longer part of it. But I could not have done any of it without your support, and I appreciate that. I'm not trying to be anybody but myself, hence why you are tuned in to the J.M.O. Just my opinion about Survivor Series. Was not bad, was not great, missed an opportunity, which it could have been, but storyline today I cannot wait to see. The man, Becky Lynch, has got to be the most over female in the history of professional wrestling. Some have already compared her to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and as he would say, not so fast. Listen, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.